ain't doing nothing.
A simple question. Whatever happened to living in a land of laws? And when someone breaks those laws with violent intent and puts the lives of innocents in danger, bringing in the police, the authorities, and shooting those criminals while they are in the act of committing said violent crime? I'll get back to you.
I worked with the police and instructed them to do everything that they could to make sure that the protesters were able to exercise their right to free speech. It's a very delicate balancing act, because while we tried to make sure that they were protected from the cars and the other things that were going on, we also gave those who wished to destroy space to do that as well. And we worked very hard to keep that balance.
Here's another one. When is rampaging through the streets of an American city with the Neanderthal attempt to destroy as much property as possible, to inflict as much damage as possible on the homes and businesses of hardworking people who may not have much more to their name than that bar, that store, that little business, to seek out and pummel those of a different color or who you do not wish to follow in the desire to bloody as many people as possible, in a land which justly prides itself on getting it right a hell of a lot more often than anybody else? When is that considered free speech? And in what black hole is it even slightly correct to applaud lawmakers of any affiliation, any party, any race, any creed, who take it upon themselves to allow the vermin of society to riot and destroy in order to give them space?
I was there all day, and it was very peaceful all day, thousands of people. And then at the end, there were a few people who said, we're gonna turn this city down, we're gonna close it down. And the next thing you know, we had a few people, mainly from out of town, to come and to start beating up on police cars and throwing all kinds of projectiles. But the fact is that for the most part, it could have been worse. But again, this whole police community relations situation, Bob, is the civil rights cause for this generation, no doubt about it. This thing here, the cell phone with the camera, this has caused a whole new situation where a lot of the police interaction with citizens is being recorded. That used to not be the case when you and I were coming up.
When do Americans start to call out these frauds, liars, generational punks, bilious gasbag blowhards of every political stripe, any religion, any color, any creed, any gender, any collection of whiny, empty-headed pomposity, and tell them no more? When do we stop allowing the media to blow more than air up their proverbial skirts and stop kissing their bulbous derrieres and label the bovine excrement they spill that seeks to make excuses for their fellow criminals? How many times do we have to hear them spew the bile that takes form in verbiage such as, they're from out of town, for the most part everything is peaceful, and then fall back on it all being the fault of law enforcement? Out of town, in town, male, female, black, white, blue, young, old, hailing from a galaxy somewhere beyond the reach of mortal man, it makes no difference. They are violent criminals and lawbreakers. And for the various sanctimonious sacks of sandbaggers who insist that all is calm, all is well, and then fall back again on everything leading back to bad cops, when do we as a society, as a people, insist on enough just being enough? There are bad cops that need to be rooted out and slapped in irons as fast as the rats and rodents of society who feed on the innocents because they can, because they are given the opportunity to turn subhuman by a society that far too often seeks excuses instead of solutions. Oh, one more thing. I apologize to the rats and rodents of the world because the trash we see roaming the streets of Baltimore and other American cities could only hope to reach the intellectual level of those who crawl and sometimes pick up the garbage. The real garbage is on display every day, often wearing tailored business suits, and even more often in the streets of American cities. That's my opinion, telling it like it is. Rock on, true believers. We'll see you back here tomorrow on The Hard Line.